or Madam Agent. Dear Agent, my novel will be the next best-selling Harry Potter. Dear Agent, I follow you on Twitter and also have a black cat, so I think you would like my novel. Dear Agent, please, oh pretty please love my novel and represent me. I give up. Hi there, I'm Lenn Woolston, sci-fi fantasy writer, blogger, and nerd. And today I actually wanted to focus on kind of an overview of writing that query letter. For those of you who don't know, a query letter is basically like a cover letter that we use when applying for a job, but in this case it is a almost cover letter that represents your novel that you are submitting to agents or editors at a publishing house in hopes of getting your book published. In anticipation of the Pitch and Intern event that Filles Vertes Publishing is going to be hosting October 24th, I thought this was a great opportunity to talk about an overview of that query letter, breaking down the fundamentals of what you need for that query letter in hopes of helping it kind of take a lot of the pressure and stress away from writing that query letter. So without further ado, let's go into each of these steps. The greeting. I think it's best for you to just put dear and then the agent or editor's name there. This is not the time to be giving them a cute nickname or to even just put sir or madam, but put their name and be sure to spell it correctly. Below that, you're going to want to put your metadata, which is your book's title, its genre and category, as well as the word count. You can also put comps in there. So first, let me go back to that metadata. So here's where you'll say what the title is, and then you'll be saying who is the target audience. So if it's adult, if it's young adult, or if it's middle grade, and so on. And then you'll also be putting in that genre, whether it's fantasy, sci-fi, historical, thriller, whatever it may be, and then that word count. That is very crucial because you need to have all that information there so that it catches the person's eye as to what exactly this is, because that's the information that they're going to need. Now let's talk about those comps. You can use comps that are within the last 5 years of publication for a book, and with that you can also have, not necessarily that the book plot is the same, but maybe you can use different themes or just the tone of the book, or maybe it's kind of the same voice as yours. You can use that as a comp. It's also perfectly fine to use comps that are TV shows or movies if you feel like there isn't a book that really represents exactly what your book is. It's perfectly fine to use a comp that would be something that the agent or editor at a publishing house would be able to readily recognize. You can also include in this paragraph some kind of personalization. So maybe you've met this agent or editor somewhere, like at a conference or some kind of other event, but if you have nothing to go on as far as making it personal, you should definitely include why you are choosing them to query. So it could be as simple as, I saw your manuscript wish list and thought you would be interested. But at the same time, if you really don't feel comfortable with any of that, you can leave the personalization out of the query letter. Next, make sure that you put in the hook. So the hook is basically the tagline for your entire novel that's summed up into preferably one sentence or two sentences that is going to really entice somebody to want to know more about this book. Next in your query letter, you should include what I like to call the book blurb. This is very similar to as if you picked up a book and you read the back cover, which tells about the story. I will say that this should be the largest portion of your query letter, but again, staying within reason to about 250, 300 words for the total of the query letter. But here is where you want to get into who the main character is, what is their objective, like what are they trying to accomplish in this story, and then also what the conflict is. So there you can introduce who the antagonist is, but definitely make sure that you include stakes. That is one thing that a lot of people overlook when they're doing their query letters. So definitely make sure that instead of really ending on like a rhetorical question, I would advise that you really focus on what are the big consequences of your main character with them having to deal with the conflict. What is going to happen in the overall picture, and do it in a very enticing way. Again, staying in with kind of that, just I would say like a paragraph or two, possibly three, that go into those details, but without telling the ending. The next thing that you should include is your author bio. Here's where you can put any kind of writing credentials you have, any other published works that you have, or you can also just kind of tell the agent or editor something about yourself as a writer that you think would be pertinent to the query. So, for example, if you don't have any writing credentials and you don't have any other published works, but maybe you have written a story that is like a medical thriller and you yourself work in the medical field, you can put that in that information because it shows that you have some professional industry insight as to why you were able to write this story. With that, I would also say that you should keep the author bio to kind of a minimum 1 to 2 sentences. You don't have to go into too much length about who you are as a person because you really want to focus on that book that you're trying to sell to them. The last part of your query letter should be the closing. Here you can put thank you for your time, I look forward to hearing from you, or you can simply put sincerely. Definitely make sure that you put your name, your pen name if you have one, your email address, your author website, and any social media links that you have for your author platform. This way it ensures that the agent or editor can contact you by all these means if necessary. Now for my best query writing advice. Are you ready for it? Follow the submission guidelines. This is the best advice I can give you because it all depends on what the agency or the publishing house has as their submission guidelines. Those kind of supersede everything that I say. If they have a certain format that they want you to follow, follow that. Because following those rules, those submission guidelines, will definitely make sure that your query stands out in the other slush of people who are not following, and it shows that you paid attention, that you are invested in this agency or this publishing house. So make sure you adhere to those when writing your query. Now I do want to leave you with some resources to help you write that query letter. So down below in the description box, I'm going to go ahead and link an article to Filles Vertes Publishing's website that has a great article that talks about query letters. I'm also going to be linking Query Shark and iWriterly's Query Hack because these are two resources that take query letters, actual query letters from people, and it gives professional critiques about them. So this will be a great guide for you to kind of see how other people are writing query letters and how industry professionals are receiving those and giving feedback as to how to improve them. For more information about the Pitch and Intern event that we are holding, you can go ahead and check down the links down below. Also make sure to follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter for any more updates, and I'll also have those links down below. You can also follow me on my social media links because I am updating as to what I am personally looking for. I recently posted an aesthetic board of the kinds of manuscripts that I'll be looking for while we're hosting this event, so all of that will be down below. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a like. Make sure that you subscribe so you stay tuned for next week when I will be talking about writing that synopsis. Until next video, guys, bye!